Howdy, Immortalium here. Today I'm reviewing a very well known and very well loved series called K-On! Now, despite the fact that it says the complete series at the bottom, that's actually just the first season. So, you know, it's not the whole thing. This is only season 1. So first of all, what is the plot of K-On!? The plot of K-On! Is that the lead girl, Yui, she's just entered high school. In Japan, it's necessary when one joins high school in order to join a club. And she's wondering what club she should join. In the end, she decides to join the light music club, thinking that they only play light music and all that jazz. But in reality, it's like a J-pop thing. And she meets all these other characters, and basically that's how the show progresses. As many people have pointed out with this show, it's the definition of slice of life, comedy, moe, etc., etc., with no real plot, no real character development. A lot of people have issues with it for that. But there's also a lot of people who really enjoy it for what it is, and I'm actually one of those people. I enjoyed the show. It's not an outstanding show, it's not amazing, but it's very enjoyable. So let me just get into it. First of all, the most important thing in this show, in my opinion, are the characters, you see, because a lot of the humor is character based. You have Yui, who's the lead character. She's kind of a klutz, so she's very innocent. She's gullible as well. So that, of course, lends itself to comedy. You have Ritsu, who's the one on the drums. Hyper, kind of annoying to everyone else. She basically a whirlwind of energy, which of course is needed in this club, in my opinion. We have Mio over here, who's kind of the responsible one, I would say. Responsible in that she tries to get everyone else to actually do stuff, but in the end, you know, she doesn't really succeed. In particular, because of the fact that she is a massive scaredy cat. She gets terrified very easily by the most, you know, basic stuff. And finally we have Tsumugi, and Tsumugi is got a very tolerant, kind of very cool-headed, you know. She just kind of takes everything in stride, kind of a bubbly character, and she's also a rich girl. So if the other people can't afford anything, then, you know, she's gonna get it somehow, whether or not she pays money. And we are introduced to a character later called Azusa, who's kind of like a mixture of Yui and Mio, but I'll get into that maybe later, or relevance to the plot. So basically, those are the characters, and in my opinion they are the most important part of the show because of the fact that so much of the humor comes from it. This is based on a 4-koma manga. Now, if you're not familiar with what 4-koma is, basically it's, just think of Western comics that, you know, they're like 4 panels long, they go across the side, and, you know, there's a gag. Basically, 4-koma manga is where it's like top to bottom. Same premise, kind of, you know, 4 panels and it leads to a gag. But then the purpose in manga, you see, is that it lends to an overall kind of plot as well, which makes it kind of easy to, you know, adapt into anime. Another really popular series that uses this format is Azumanga Daioh. So the good news about that format, you see, is that the humor comes fast and, you know, constant in this series, because, you know, in like 1 episode worth of material from the manga, you'd have so many different jokes because, you know, just constant rapid fire. So if you're not keen on a particular joke, you're probably going to get another joke in a moment. And that's really good. This series, you know, has so many jokes coming at you that, you know, you're going to be laughing a lot, even if, you know, you're kind of annoyed by the lack of plot, the lack of drama, etc., etc. The animation is by Kyoto Animation. Now, generally, Kyoto Animation, their animation is stunning, and this series is no exception. By any other anime standard, you know, any other animation studio, it would be, you know, just amazing animation. However, I think in comparison to Clannad and Haruhi Suzumiya, the 2 other, you know, Kyoto Animation shows that I've seen, this series isn't as well animated in my opinion as them. The backgrounds are very detailed, just like any other Kyoto animation, but the characters themselves seem to lack the detail that the other characters from the other series do. Sometimes they look a little odd, particularly their jawline, I think. But by all standards, it's like by any other standard, I should say, it's a really well animated series, and a lot of people love it because of the very good animation. So just because it fails to reach the quality that Clannad and Haruhi Suzumiya had, doesn't necessarily mean it's badly animated. The music as well, because this is a light music club, this will kind of feed into the English dub as well. There's something very important I want to discuss here. The music itself is very catchy. It's all J-pop. The people in this club basically just spend the majority of their time kind of eating cakes, drinking tea, talking about stuff. So they don't actually practice that much, but they're all like really talented. In particular, Yui, because we get to see that even though she's kind of a bit of a klutz, that she actually has some extreme talents, like the ability to tune a guitar by ear and all that jazz. But when they get into the band, like when they're up on stage, they are incredible. They are fantastic players. Some people might regard that as a plot hole, but I just take it as part of the show. What I want to say about the English dub is the fact that, okay, first of all, the English dub itself is very good. It's not amazing, but it is very good. You have Stephanie Sheh as the lead. If I'm correct, yeah, Christina V, Cassandra Lee are also in this. I know them from Puella Magica Magica, whose English dub I'm not too keen on, but they're actually very good in this. Shelby Lindley, who plays Tsumugi, I don't know anything about because she doesn't even have her own Wikipedia page, so I'm not sure. And the other one, anyway, the point is, even if I'm not sure who some of them are, they're all really good. There was no point in which I thought to myself, oh, this is a bad English dub. But it's not particularly outstanding except in one regard. And this, I really love. Anyone who's seen Haruhi Suzumiya or, Tales from Earthsea, or a wide range of other anime, basically, in Japan you see a lot of voice actors and actresses who voice anime are also pop idols, so they often sing, and of course because of that, there's a lot of anime that involves singing. That has songs in it where the characters sing. Now, quite often what they do in English dubs is they just, they try to, dub it in. So they have like the actress or actors who playing the part start singing. And generally they're not as good because they're not, they're not singers like these, the Japanese seiyuu are. But in this series, this I really loved, and I'm hoping that they stuck with it for the next season, and I would like to see it in a lot more anime, because I think this is the very first time I've ever seen it done, is they actually swapped over to the Japanese when the character started singing. Now, it's not as distracting as one might think, you see, because the English dub cast actually sound a lot like the Japanese cast. So it kind of just sounds like they swapped over into singing into Japanese. But I really love that idea that they keep the Japanese songs in, because the Japanese songs, are superior to English dub songs, and I just think that that's the next kind of step in solving kind of the issue of trying to dub in songs. So that really lent a lot of enjoyment to it, because in this case it wasn't necessarily like an English voice actor or actress trying to sound great singing. It actually is great seiyuu singing. So I must admit that's my favourite part of the English dub for me, just the fact that they swap over to Japanese to for the songs, and then they swap back to the English dub later. And actually there's some bits in it where like characters are talking while they're singing going on, and they're speaking in English but the other people are singing in Japanese, but actually it works really well. You think it wouldn't, I guess that's why a lot of other companies don't do it, but it actually works really well in this series, so I would like to see that implemented in future dubs. Okay, so I was going to mention Azusa. Now, there's only one picture of her on this box, but it's a really small one, so I won't bother showing. Suffice it to say, she's a character that's introduced later. As I said, this series is set over a year and 3/4. Maybe I didn't say that. Anyway, whatever. It is set over a year and 3/4. So next year, like when they enter second year, there's a new first year who joined called Azusa, and she kind of, how can I want to describe it? She kind of shakes stuff up, because whereas all the other characters are just kind of satisfied to be drinking tea and eating sweets and, you know, goofing off a lot of the time, Azusa really wants to, you know, practice. So she kind of shakes up the band a bit. She doesn't shake it up that much, because in the end they still do what they did before, but she kind of gets them to practice every so often. So that's pretty good. Plus she has the support of Mio, who kind of wanted to do that, but since she was the only one out of the lot, you know, she couldn't do anything. Speaking of the characters, there's a lot of side characters in this series. Very few men, actually, because it's an all-girls school they go to, and even when they're outside of school, you know, it's just dominated by the women. But there's some very good side characters. You know, you have Yui's sister Ui, you have her best friend Nodoka. But my favorite side character has to be Miss Yamanaka. Miss Yamanaka is a teacher in the school, and she becomes the club's advisor. But the thing is, she kind of acts, you know, cute and nice and all that jazz when, you know, she's dealing with the other students, you see, and the other teachers. But what the people in the club realize, and what they found out, is the fact that Miss Yamanaka was like this hardcore rocker kind of when she was young. So when she kind of joins up with them, sometimes she can go really kind of messed up. Like she'll start Hendrixing on a guitar, or, you know, she might start, you know, like screaming in a deep voice, you know, like you girls should be more hardcore and all that jazz. She's a hilarious character. Just kind of seeing her go back and forth between, you know, kind of cute and adorable, and then like really kind of, you know, heavy kind of punk looking and all that jazz. So I really enjoyed her character. Now, criticisms, because, you know, I've pointed out some criticisms: the lack of drama, the lack of a storyline, the lack of character development. You know, that those are obviously heavy kind of criticisms, and for many people, a lot of people, it can ruin the show. But I don't think it ruins the show. Other criticisms I would have is that the second last episode is kind of a bonus episode. The last episode is bonus episode 2, but the last episode is actually good. Whereas the second last episode, actually, it's kind of slow moving. I'm not sure if it's based on the manga at all, or if it's like a filler. And if I had to guess from the lack of humor in it, it's probably a filler. Although, you know, I don't have any backup for that, or basis for that. But I didn't enjoy the second last episode. And there's also kind of an unrealism to this, in a sense that, okay, so it's slice of life, and slice of life, of course, is meant to be realistic. But of course, there's a lot of kind of convenience done. I mean, in particular with Tsumugi, you know, basically Tsumugi allows the girls to be able to do things that, you know, the majority of people can't do. For example, this guitar that Yui has over here is worth $2,500. The only reason she could get it is because of the fact that Tsumugi's father owns a range of shops, one of which was a music store. So Tsumugi was able to get it down to $500 for that. There's also two episodes now, because usually most anime series hold it to one, in which they go to the beach and, you know, they're in swimsuits and all that jazz. But it's a training camp, so they've gone to one of Tsumugi's houses, which is massive, summer houses, and, you know, they're meant to practice, which they kind of do. They don't do it for a lot of it, you know, a lot of it is on the beach and all that jazz. So those are criticisms. But in fairness, I actually enjoyed the series a good bit, and I actually do want to get season 2, and if I enjoy season 2, I want to get the movie then, because I actually did like the series. Yes, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I did like the series, and I do recommend it, particularly if you're looking for a comedy-based series. Just know that it's very moe-based, it's not, you know, dramatic at all. So thanks for watching, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.